Name's Hannah Bucys, and I play wheelchair rugby as part of the Great Britain wheelchair rugby team. Been playing for the past few years. Initially started in 2019 after sustained a spinal cord injury. Tried it at a spinal unit and a big sporting event called Inter-Spinal Unit Games. And then with COVID happened, things like that, and then started properly again when I went to university in 2022.
So what inspired you to take up wheelchair rugby?
I think for me, I've always been very sporty my whole life. Pre-injury, was a trampoline gymnast, competed across the country and multiple tournaments and competitions. And I think I wanted to find that love of sport again. And I I watched wheelchair rugby, watched the guys playing and wanted to get involved, wanted to give it a go. So I did, and I've loved it ever since. I found that love of sport again.
What are the rules of the wheelchair rugby?
So there's quite a few rules. There's four players on each team play at once. There's four quarters that are 8 minutes long with a stop clock. You've got to score a try, you've got to cross the line with the ball in control. You have 40 seconds in total to score, 12 seconds to get over the halfway line, and you have to bounce or pass the ball within every 8 seconds. And it's full contact between the wheelchairs, but there's no physical contact with opponents.
What was it that attracted you towards wheelchair rugby in particular?
I think the physical side of the game, it's very fast-paced, it's quick, it's dynamic, but also there's the tactical side. It's a very tactical game, lots to think about how we can outwit opponents and how we can gain advantages, and also being part of a team, that wider team aspect of it, um, is like it's like a second family. So that really was what attracted me to the sport and what I wanted to be a part of.
Do you have a family history of wheelchair rugby? Does it run in your family, or did you decide you wanted to do wheelchair rugby yourself?
Yeah, no history within the family. Just something that I wanted to try and give it a go, and yeah, just been from there ever since, really.
Go on, Abu.
So, like you said, it's the contact sport. So how would you tackle to get the ball and score a try or a scrum?
So in terms of tackling, it's yeah, full chair contact, so you can hit other opponents' chairs with your chair, intercepting passes. So if they throw a pass, trying to intercept the pass, pushing them out of bounds, um, will create a turnover, forcing them to make errors or forcing turnovers by, running down the clock so they can't score within that 40 seconds. So it's very much, you know, that chair contact, that tactical side, to try and create turnovers to gain that advantage. It's a mix of lots of different sports. So a mix of like basketball, handball rules, like hockey, like lots of different things together to create the sport. You can pass the ball in any direction. We use a volleyball rather than a rugby ball. There's no rules in that you have to pass backwards.
Are there any other formats in wheelchair rugby?
So there's the Paralympic discipline, which is what I play. And then there is a version called Wheelchair Rugby Fives, which is designed for players with different impairments. So for the Paralympic discipline, you have to have at least 3 limbs that are impaired to be able to play. And wheelchair rugby fives allows a greater number of people to play with different disabilities. I think there's also a low point version of wheelchair rugby. You basically classified based on your level of function from 0.5 all the way through to 3.5, with 3.5 players having the greatest amount of function on the court, and that total takes you up to 8 points at any one time.
Do you have a live VAR referee as well, like in the real rugby, or is it different? And thin bins as well?
We don't have any VAR. It's just purely the referees' calls on the court between the 2 referees. There is a sin bin or penalty bin, which you can be put in depending on the fouls.
How does someone get involved with the wheelchair rugby if they are new to wheelchair rugby, never played the game?
So one of the ways is you can go on the Great Britain Wheelchair Rugby website, and on there you'll be able to find a local team or local club, search a local club, and there'll be the contact details of that club on there. You can get in touch and get involved that way. Often there's like taster events at like wider sporting festivals. So Wheel Power might do a big sporting event where wheelchair rugby may be, for people to give it a go and get involved that way.
So, is there a site classification done as well, or is it a certain type of wheelchair user? And what's the process of someone to go from domestic to international GB Paralympic?
So in terms of sort of that domestic level, we play as part of our clubs, enter the leagues from we have like a League 3, League 2, League 1, and then the Premiership League. So the clubs will play in those different leagues, and then to progress to sort of that international level with GB, it's getting originally onto the talent pathway, which is like the development program, and training with those, going to tournaments with those, and then showing that progression and that commitment, and the different sort of behaviours and attitudes that the coaches are looking for, and your performance to then be able to be invited to the elite setup, attending a trial and multiple training camps.
So, like you said, that you work as well and you play. So, how do you balance all both of them together?
It is tough, working full time and then trying to be able to perform as well. Just getting that balance in terms of getting the gym sessions in, the conditioning sessions in, and my club training sessions, but also time for myself. That's as important. So yeah, it's a work in progress at the moment, and we're getting that balance, but it is getting there. It's a lot better than it was.
Should anyone be intimidated by playing wheelchair rugby?
It can possibly look intimidating, but you know, when you get playing, it's very enjoyable. Everyone's very friendly and welcoming. It is physical. There is a physical side to it, but it's also very tactical. So, you know, the tactical side is key. Probably the most important part of the game is that clever gameplay. So, well, I would say not to be intimidated by it, even though it does look quite physical.
What do you think the factors are that distract someone from playing wheelchair rugby then?
Maybe, you know, not necessarily knowing that it exists, knowing about the sport. It's quite a niche sport and not many people know about it, so that's a potential factor. Access to the clubs, if you don't necessarily know where they are or where to find them. Get into some clubs, and the cost of equipment as well may be a factor too.
What piece of best advice would you give to anyone that wants to get into it and they've got a disability or they're disabled in a wheelchair to play this sport? Because, anxiety and well-being is a big factor as well, just to get them out of the house or like that. So what best advice would you give them? Any best 3 tips?
I think number one is just go for it. Give it a go. You never know whether you'll like it unless you try it. Get in touch with a local team and go down and give it a go and see what it's like. That would probably be my main advice, is to give it a go. And it's really good for that community element, that family element of clubs, and being in that team environment. Everyone's very supportive, makes you feel welcome, gives you a focus and something to look forward to.